Welcome to the OC. I'm Phil, and this is my co-host Cory, and we are Ordered Chaos Podcast. And tonight we are talking about the Simpson conspiracies.
Okay, this is not Montauk level feeling dumber, but this is certainly with that. Like, okay, there are people who firmly believe this.
There's
a huge. That's
following.
The fascinating part. There is a huge following.
Yes, the Simpson creators and writers have all vehemently denied this.
That they're exactly.
They're like guys. I mean, we'd love
from the future.
Yeah,
or they're Nostradamus. What do they call?
Yeah,
Gorning-namus or something.
I don't know.
Mastronomus.
Were you a fan of the show? Did you watch the show? See, I didn't. We grew up not getting the show.
No, you're right. You're right. Now I don't mind the Simpsons. I like.
No, I don't either.
When it was more about satire versus how dumb is Homer, right? Which is pretty much what Family Guy is now.
Yeah, true.
Like it was clever at one point.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, and I feel like I didn't even know who he was until actually Jay came to the school and he was wearing a Simpsons shirt. Do you remember that?
Jay was pretty much Bart. I think he based his life off of Bart Simpson.
Yeah,
but we all based our life off of characters. I tried to be Spider-Man at one point. It didn't work.
Yeah. I tried to be Cheech Marin. I don't know.
I'm thinking more Tommy Chong with that beard, buddy.
Tommy Chong. Yeah.
And Dave's not here, man.
Dave's not here, man. Yeah. I just woke up. Yeah. So the show, I didn't know this, but the show started off as a short.
Oh, yeah. On the Tracy Ullman show.
Yeah. Do you remember Tracy Ullman? No, I had no idea.
It was a comedy sketch.
Yeah. And Tracy Ullman, all I remember about Tracy Ullman is she used to do she was like physical comedy, like Carol Burnett, or it was whatever. But yeah, it did that for 2 years. It was like on periodically.
And it was the animation was hella bad.
It was real bad. Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah. So, and I've seen some of those episodes, just doing this research, and I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible. So yeah, it was on there from 87 to 89, and then in 89 it got bought up by whatever.
I think we skipped over a point though, Phil. We talked about the Simpsons conspiracy. We should probably summarize what the Simpsons conspiracy is.
Let's back up. Okay.
Yeah, this is the grabber, right? We got to grab people right at the start.
Well, we should get your attention. So the conspiracy is that the Simpsons have predicted numerous events throughout history since the beginning of the show, and that the creator of the show, Matt Groening, and his writers have traveled through time. And
the Montauk Project, Montauk Project.
The only way that they could have possibly had these coincidental moments was to travel through time and provide us with these insightful things. Much of the stuff, though, I can understand how people would look at this and go, yeah, that's fucking weird. There is some weirdness. So we're not covering all of them. There's no way. There's far too many. And the ones that we're covering are at least from the ones I'm covering. I'm not sure exactly. You kind of mentioned it. What you're doing.
They may be the same. So I tried to pick more of the sexier ones because there's an awful lot. So folks, there's an awful lot of hoaxes out there about what they've predicted, because it turns out anybody with paint can go off, take a screen cap, and change what was in the background.
Well, that's right. Well, and that's it. There's quite a few, and most
don't trust anyone over 30, folks.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Wait, say that. It's us.
That's us. Do you have a white van? No. Okay.
What does a white van have to do?
Don't trust anyone over 30 driving a white panel van. Late 90s panel van.
And carpeting.
Oh God, that was an era. Oh, so embarrassing.
That and mullets, baby. We both had them.
I had
hockey hair.
You had hockey hair. I had a mullet. Oh,
yeah,
then I grew it all out. I know, you can't believe it. Look at this. The audience won't believe that this used to be a mane of hair.
I think my sister used the word tiger beat. There's a picture of us using that stupid hibachi that comes up to our knees.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, hey, it's looked like Phil just walked off the cover of Tiger Beat. I'm like, thank you, Holly. Don't talk about how handsome your brother is. Talk about Phil. Great.
Thank you. How times have changed.
Times have changed.
I used to be a handsome devil. And then now, well,
here we are.
It takes its toll on all of us.
Middle age hit us like a ton of bricks.
Oh, right around my waist. Anyway.
Yes.
Sorry, you were saying. That could be a Wednesday rant. Actually.
There we go. Well, I think you already have one. Staples.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I want to throw them under the bus, though. I mean,
I don't. I like Staples.
What if we get famous one day and then they sue us? Or you? I don't know. One of them.
Sue me.
I don't know. You have more money.
Voiceover. Welcome to the OC. I'm Phill Lord.
Yeah.
But sorry, we're off topic. You were saying about the timeline of Simpsons.
Yeah. So anyway, let's. I'll start. I'll do one, and then you do one until you run out.
We go back and forth.
So number one that I have, which I thought was, it's not funny, but it's funny, is Siegfried and Roy.
Tiger attack.
They predicted in 1993. And this is not a prediction. This was on the show. So nobody goes, in the future, in 2003. So 10 years later, so Siegfried and Roy, it's a bit about, Roy gets attacked by the tiger and it's just a bloody mess, which it was in real life 10 years later. So that's the, and this is legit. I watched the episode and I'm like, oh, that's funny. And then
that's funny. Yeah. Roy Siegfried gets mauled by a tiger.
Yeah. Roy's actually paralyzed in real life.
See, and this is where when you look at this stuff where you talk about the whole coincidence, right?
Is it a coincidence? You're playing with large cats.
Exactly right. So you're predicting. Now, the only thing that's coincidental is they had a 50-50 chance of guessing who would be attacked by the large cat. Now,
I think that's right. You are absolutely correct.
I have never watched Siegfried and Roy because, again, they're a little too fabulous for me.
They are very fabulous. Yes.
I don't know if Roy was the one who was always hugging and kissing the cats, which, again, if he was, then it makes sense that.
Yeah. So I watched kind of the clip that
of the mauling or the.
Well, he was trying to like, oh, you're a bad tiger. And that fucking tiger's like, oh, yeah? You're going to smack me? Really? Okay.
I'm a 1,500-pound or an 800-pound carnivore.
Yeah. Like, these things are enormous.
You're and
there's Roy going, hey, stop it. And then, oh my God. It's going to, it did. It paralyzed him. It could have killed him. It should have. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, so I don't know if that's a prediction as much as it is. Hey, wouldn't it be funny on the show if Roy got attacked by one of the tigers?
It sounds more like an inevitability, right? It's like, hey, look, a guy who works with tigers. Again, the chance of him predicting that it was Roy and not Siegfried who got it, I don't know how. I've never watched the show.
I watched this, the tiger.
They're actually magicians, believe it or not.
Yeah, they are. They're
magicians. Like they're staged. Like
they're
not kind of. That's exactly what they are. They're a stage magician act.
Not anymore. It's really hard to do magic acts from a wheelchair.
This is true. Unless you're actually Gandalf.
Oh, right. Yeah. If you're him. Yes, of course. So, yeah, I mean, but obviously, if you look at the probability, the Tiger King guy, what was his name?
I just know him as the Tiger King.
The Tiger, but he's got people, if you watch, I did watch the show. I'm a little embarrassed.
The guy with the arm?
Yeah. So
I think
was a woman.
She,
by the way, but
she could beat me up. I'm pretty sure.
She's like, hi. And oh yeah, that was an accident with the tiger. It wasn't an accident. Those are killers that you keep as pets. And if you keep something that is mentally ingrained to kill shit and eat it, you're going to one day become that shit that it eats. So. And he was attacked too. Almost everybody there was, I think,
Joe Exotic.
That's right.
I was doing a brain Google right there, thinking, what's his name?
Joe Exotic. He's in jail right now, and
for apparently trying to murder what's her name? The other
Carol Baskin.
Apparently trying to
Carol Baskin.
They had it out, and anyway, watch it on Netflix. The Tiger King.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's
he there. Is a strange dude. Yeah, walk the path of strangeness.
I think he got divorced, actually. I think his husband is divorcing him.
The husband that And anyway, I think
he was thinking Trump would go off and actually pardon him.
And absolve him. Yeah. No, he didn't, though, at all. No. Because he's crazy. And he tried to murder somebody. So yeah.
He tried himself. He tried to pay somebody to murder. It's not the same thing. It's a little bit different, right? It's
Dude took his money though. Sure, I'll go kill Carol Baskin, whatever.
Sure, you got money, yeah.
And then he ratted him out. It's crazy. The next one, you go ahead. What's
all right? Okay, one? My one is I don't know if I want to beat you to these ones first.
You can. Okay,
we'll talk. No, I don't. So I'm gonna go tame. Nothing super crazy. Right. Okay, I'm going Disney buying Fox.
That's a big one, actually.
I know it's a big one, but it's not a big sexy one, right?
It's not sexy, but to me, it's one of the most interesting ones. Right? Correct. Because, let's set it up here. So there's a scene, right? And basically it's Homer pitching a movie to Ron Howard, and they're pitching to the executives at 20th Century Fox, right? And then all it is it scrolls by and it says 20th Century Fox on their marquee.
A division of Walt Disney Co.
A division of Walt Disney
When Company. You Dish Upon a Star, I think is the episode.
This episode
1998
takes place in 1998. And then it comes to fruition in 2017. Weird. And it is weird because
completely.
I mean, is it though? I mean,
but not necessarily. But to say so, this is where it gets interesting. Disney was not necessarily in 98 the juggernaut, like the entertainment juggernaut that it is now. It was big.
It's not like now, no. But
now it's insane. It's insane.
But I think at that time, though, in 98, they were starting to buy up little subsidiaries, right? And when did they purchase Sony? They purchased Sony in the 2000s.
Disney does not own Sony.
I thought it was Disney owned Sony.
No. So if Disney owned Sony, they wouldn't have had a problem with Spider-Man. And the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They would just say, "We own you, bitches."
Yeah. They bought National Geographic.
Yep, National Geographic. What else?
A bunch of stuff.
LucasArts.
Lucas. Yes.
Right. So the Star Wars folks, they bought Marvel, but they didn't buy Marvel till 2000s. Yeah. Right. And then they acquired, because Marvel had ran into a bunch of issues. Yeah. Marvel almost went bankrupt in the 90s because it turns out when you have 15 variants of the exact same comic, it really torpedoes the value of those comics that you're hoping to make money on. And you don't need 18 different issues of Wolverine.
Fair enough. And Stan Lee made out like a bandit. Once his movies started taking off, it was like,
he did okay.
For you, Stan.
He did okay. But again, if you look at the whole, like you said about Sony, Spider-Man was Sony.
Right. That's where I got mixed up. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I thought they owned.
But if you look at Marvel Cinematic Universe, you see Spider-Man showing up in Avengers Endgame, Marvel Civil War. But they had to make devil's deals with Fox or with Sony to get those. They didn't have to do that. Yeah. They didn't have to do that with the X-Men because they bought Fox, who had the rights to X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Right. Yeah.
If you ever get a chance, Phil, I recommend, and people out there, you need to see this. The Roger Corman Constantine film version of the Fantastic Four.
What? So which one is that?
It is horrible. It is so bad. So
I've never seen it.
So what happened was, Marvel had licensed out a bunch of its properties. And one of the properties it licensed out was the Fantastic Four, right? So that's Fantastic Four. You got the Thing, Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman / Girl, and the Human Torch, right?
Right.
So Constantine Films had the rights. Now, they didn't do anything with them. And the clause was that you had to do something with them. So you had to make a movie with them. If you didn't make a movie with them, the rights relapsed or returned back to Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
So Constantine Films realized, and I believe it was Constantine Films, realized the time was coming up. They needed to do something. So they spent $1 million.
Ooh, well, then.
$1 million, right? To make
$1 million.
$1 million to make a Fantastic Four film using Roger Corman, who is he's the master of creating these really horrible, campy movies that they're just train wrecks. They're worth watching. It is so bad. The special effects are terrible. Like there's one scene where Mr. Fantastic uses his stretching ability, and it's basically, you can almost see somebody put a glove on a broomstick and push out and trip somebody.
Oh, perfect.
I have it. If you ever want to watch it, Phil, I'll send it to you because it is bad. But that's an example of the horse trading that happened. So I don't know how Fox got the rights, because they did get the rights. And then now that Disney is owning Fox and owns Marvel, it's all kind of in one place. So
these people have so much power, right? So I mean, if they want something, it's like, okay, well, how much do you want?
Well, right. Sony's a juggernaut too, right? So it's easy to think, oh, Disney's massive. Well, yeah, and Sony owns Japan, so.
That's true. That's true. So I thought it was really interesting. Probably of all of them, I thought, wow, that is, because there is such a time frame. Just, and then not only that, that is real coincidence.
It is, and you almost wonder, do they sit around like saying, what's the most craziest thing we can predict? Disney buying Fox. I mean, they're both massive. It'll never happen. Like, who could see that happening?
And it is satire, right? Like, wouldn't it be funny if we wrote and wouldn't that
the
be
House of Mouse, right?
Yeah, like, so. Okay, that's a good one. All right.
No, well, yeah, that's a good one, but it's not a sexy one.
I like it. That's one of my favorites, actually. So autocorrect fails.
Yes.
Right. So this was predicted in 1994 on the Newton Apple digital assistant that I guess Lisa has. So Newton was the first Apple product. They called it a Newton. Apparently, I tried to research and see what it was, but apparently there's no pictures of it. So it was a big fail, like most of the assistants were. So in there, she's doing predictive text, like autocorrect, and it's like correcting the different words. Anyway, it comes true. Apple has corrective text 2007. So this was 1994.
Yeah.
Autocorrect 2007.
So here's a funny thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with Snopes?
Yeah.
So Snopes actually has, so you've hit the big time with whatever crazy shit you're saying. When Snopes is talking, we're saying we need to debunk what it is.
Yeah.
So the autocorrect was in Microsoft Word in 1993.
Right.
So
I remember that vaguely.
Yeah.
It would underline the word if it was
Clippy would show up and tell you what a loser you are. They're saying, hey.
Yeah, but did it replace the word?
You could enable it to do so.
Oh, could you?
You could make it really, really aggressive.
Oh, I see.
Right. Now, with that being said, when you combined it with the idea of, like you said, the Newton, right? Because this is the idea of the whole, because we're talking
You're texting.
94. Yeah. 94 was, I'm trying to think, they had Palm Pilots. For those who don't know what a Palm Pilot is,
they were horrible. I remember buying one at a yard sale when I was young, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
And
a little weird pen.
Yeah, exactly. A little weird pen so you could write and you'd scroll something out and it'd be like those stupid when you're in the grocery store and you've got a sign for your credit card. Yeah. And you're like, that doesn't even look like my signature in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. You'd be better off with an Etch-a-Sketch to write your name.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. That was
BlackBerry was when BlackBerries came out, they were the bomb, right? It's like, man, look at this. I've got a keyboard. I can do all this cool stuff. It was a status symbol, and then it eventually became a running joke.
Yeah. I had a BlackBerry. I had one of the first.
I was a big BlackBerry fan right up until they betrayed me with the BlackBerry Playbook. They were supposed to bring out the operating system. And anyway, I loved BlackBerry at
BlackBerry Z or something, like 10 or something like that.
Yeah, the BB10 was, there was a bunch of stuff that was supposed to come out. Yeah. They betrayed me. As far as I'm concerned, I had the last official BlackBerry phone I had was Torch.
Oh.
Yeah, they really missed the boat. Gotcha. Apple went off and said touchscreens, and BlackBerry was like, we're business, buddy. We don't need touchscreens. Everybody wants keyboards. Who cares if they use in their personal life?
You and your Apple, whatever that is.
Well, that's it though, right? They didn't understand the BYOD, the bring your own device phenomenon. They thought businesses would go off and gobble up BlackBerry, right? Oh, well, it's business. It's the business tool. Turns out you want to use the same phone you use at home.
For sure. And be able to easily scroll through things. I remember my BlackBerry scroll button, fucking up. It was cool until
that's right. The little it was basically a trackball, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was it was in the middle, by the bottom, then you kind of move it around. It was pretty cool, except if you have large hands, and you're trying to oh no, I just typed shit while I'm moving. Yeah.
So have you screwed with the autocorrect libraries on your Apple?
No, you can.
Yeah, so my niece had done that. This is a story I told previously. My niece had done that. So she had changed my sister-in-law's phone from no to yes. So whenever she would text her, can I do this?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, well,
Sort of.
It doesn't, that and a $1.54 buys you a coffee at Tim Hortons. So as far as usefulness.
Yeah, that's true. Well, what's your next one?
Okay, so let's see. You picked that one, so I'll pick something accordingly.
Oh, you had that one? Oh, okay.
No. God, no, I didn't have that one.
Oh.
No, I looked at Snopes. Like I said, Snopes debunked it. So
yeah, sure. It was on the video. I watched the video. I watched but you're right. I don't know how most of these are all debunked by the simple fact that I think it's mere coincidence. But
so what's debunk, right? So on the subject of debunking, correction. So we're going to do with a partly false one. This actually showed up on Reuters. It's the predicting 93 episode of Simpsons predicted the new coronavirus outbreak.
Yeah, that's right. Which one was
this?
This
is Marge and Chains, episode 21, season 4.
Okay.
The episode, which aired in 1993, as stated, does not talk about coronavirus, but also about the fictional disease Osaka flu.
Oh, right.
And images. So this is where the forgery starts to happen.
This was in 1993, right?
Correct. Yep.
So they predicted riots.
They
predict the murder hornets.
That's right. They push over the van and it's all the murder hornets, right?
Right. So this was so I called this one the 2020 experience because that's when it was supposed to happen. It's in 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where it gets silly, right? Because when you talk about hoaxes.
Yeah.
There are so many edited pictures out there where they've basically changed Osaka flu to coronavirus.
Yeah.
And they say, look, the Simpsons predicted it. They didn't. They didn't say that.
No. And it was, but the Osaka flu did originate in China.
But
no, you're right.
First off, Osaka is not China.
It's Japan. I know.
It's Japan. And
it's in the Orient.
It's in Asia. It's a big place. Lots of Asians. They all look
all
like
Asians over there.
Right.
Asia.
So Bill Oakley actually spoke out about this. He actually was one of the writers on it.
Right.
And he clarified the virus plot device was inspired by the 1968 flu pandemic, which began in British Hong Kong, and an absurd joke about how the virus made it to Springfield.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
So in the episode, basically Marge gets it because she opens a sealed box that came from Osaka.
Right. No murder hornets were in the box.
No, that was the van. I think that they're like, oh, push it. Like, I don't remember the episode. Anyway,
I watched it, but yeah, I'm gonna scratch that one off because but a different name, obviously. But so because I watched pretty much all of these. I watched the clip.
You actually watched the episodes?
Not the whole episode, but the clip of that.
See, I literally watched. So this is what I love about how we do this. You're more of a not interactive, but you're more of a visual, like
I like to
auditory,
kind of
visual audio. Yeah. Whereas I'll go off. I like to read.
Yeah, I do rarely watch, but I will. I kind of want to see what people are talking about, right? Because I never watched the shows. We didn't have cable growing up, and I didn't see the shows. And I mean, I would catch snippets when my kids are watching it, and I'd be like, "Oh, Jesus, that's inappropriate." All right, maybe we should turn this off.
Such a dad.
I know, right? I'm like, oh.
Didn't I show your kids Archer? And you were like, oh my God. I'm like, the first episode, it's a naked bum. Oh, yeah.
I wasn't really panicked about it, but the kids were like, what the fuck is Uncle Cory doing?
Like, again.
Yeah, so, but no, I do like to watch kind of little snippets, and it did show like it predicts in 2020. So there is a little weirdness there. It does predict a year. It does say in 2020. You know, I think that was one of the little things. I don't know. That was, and then
I don't remember 2020 being involved in it because it was
Lisa looking into the future, wasn't it? Wasn't that the whole premise of the?
That was another episode called Bart to the Future, I think. I'm not sure. Like I said, I haven't seen it. So
let's not get too crazy about this.
I got to defer to you. But
yeah,
but this one was specifically about.
This is another one of these things that there's a lot of shit out there. Like you said, so some people are like, oh, it says coronavirus and all this other stuff. Never did. There was no corona. The original, because I watched the original. And the nice thing is I believe was it on Prime that I watched it? Because they have every episode. They've got like 30 years of episodes, so you can just watch this shit.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I guess it would be on Prime.
I think it's on Prime. I don't know, Jack.
Because Fox doesn't have a stream set. Fox does not have an independent streaming service, so it makes sense they would use Amazon's. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on Prime. So, but anyway, you can watch, or was it on Disney Plus?
Oh, no, that would be on Disney Plus.
It's on
Fox.
Disney Plus.
That's fine. Yeah, geez, it's not Prime.
Yeah, I just Googled who has episodes.
No, fuck. Jesus.
And we have Disney Plus. We have everything.
This is whiskey. Just so we're clear and about.
A bit. It's looks cloudy.
Well, it
looks a bit like urine. Don't do it. All right.
I've done it before. It's not fun. Just sipped it a little.
There you go. On the topic of Apple, we might as well go back to that. FaceTime. So that was introduced in an episode in 1995. Lisa talks with Marge using her video chat function. So is that FaceTime? I think there was lots of movies at that time. And
that was not an uncommon. So that's that's a sci-fi trope, right? Apparently we all want to, I don't know about you, but I FaceTime when I have done it, like what we're doing right now, for example, which I'm sick of. God, I can't wait till things are over so I can go back.
Human interaction. Yeah. So anyway, that was the extent of the FaceTime, and it came true in 2010. So,
I think video conferencing existed before, but generally not the same level, right?
Not where on a device where you're like, oh, hey,
or at more of a consumer level, right? So you and I couldn't do. Think about 90s, okay? Mm-hmm. Back to the delicate 90s, we had lovely dial-up internet. Do you think we could do what we're doing right now?
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Couldn't even watch porn. There's not even. You couldn't even look at pictures of it. You remember that? Oh no. We're almost there, and then it crashed.
Yeah, that was an episode of The Simpsons too, I believe, where the comic book guy is loading up a picture of Janeway.
Janeway? Oh, from
Star Trek. Yeah,
Star Trek. Yeah, Janeway. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, may the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you as well.
So, folks, normally we would do it on Saturday. We were unable to do this on Saturday, so it's technically Tuesday.
It is very much Tuesday.
So I'm literally drinking during the middle of the week versus Saturday, but since I didn't drink, my glass disappears. It's kind of cool.
It is little.
It's a magic trip. I'm Siegfried.
Where's your tiger?
Where's my tiger?
Where's your tiger? So yeah, what's your next one?
Okay, so I'm running out of low ball ones, so I'm gonna jump right into the big one. I'm gonna jump right into a big one. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, go. Do it.
9/11.
So that one is a little bit.
It is totally. It
says $9. Did you see? So this is the whole reference. So where do I have it? I don't even know where I have it.
Yeah. So essentially, there's a magazine. They go to New York. It's the episode. What is it? City of New York versus Homer Simpson. So I think this is the one where he goes. It is 97. So what happens is, and this is the episode for those who remember. I think Homer goes to the Eiffel Tower. He's waiting to get in, and it's like, I have crab juice or Mountain Dew. He's like, ew, give me the crab juice. And he has to go take a piss because he's like, I think I drank too much crab. He keeps drinking crab juice, right?
Gross.
Yeah, I guess you have a choice. Folks, by the way, Mountain Dew and gin do not mix. That was the worst. That was the one where I vomited all over the side of your car.
Oh.
Or was it my car? Whose car? It was Jason.
That was your car. No, that was your car.
I was not driving. I just remember the next morning and somebody was being a jerk.
That was where I believe that girl named Colleen threw up.
No, that was not. No, that was not.
That was a different time?
That was a different time. This is where we went camping. Remember we went
Jason.
camping out to, I think it was...
it was his shaggin' wagon. It was that blue wagon.
It was the Reliant, okay? It was a two-door Reliant.
No, the time with Jay. Jay didn't have a Reliant.
Yes.
It was his shaggin' wagon. He used to.
That's right. Yeah, he got mad at me because I vomited all over the side of his car.
Well, that's an understatement.
Don't mix Mountain Dew and gin. I don't know why I did that, but when in Rome.
Who was feeding you gin?
I picked it up. Okay, I honestly thought it was lemon gin. So lemon gin is supposed to be good. I was like, okay, gin, lemon gin.
They used to call it panty peeler.
Stay classy, Phil. Just stay classy.
So I never wore underwear.
So, but for those who haven't drank gin, it's basically like Buckley's cough syrup. And if you mix it with Mountain Dew, it's like Mountain Dew mixed with Buckley's cough syrup. So it's a taste sensation, but it screws you up real good.
Yeah, I guess so. That's crazy. I've never tried it, and I don't plan on.
fun fact, Genevieve is Genevieve is the grandfather to gin.
Oh.
It's like from Amsterdam.
What is gin made of?
Juniper berries, I think.
Oh, God. That explains a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to this. So what happened was in this episode, there's a magazine and Phil flashed the picture up.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Somewhere. Okay. Where basically Bart is holding a roll of bills. And in the background, it's like, hey, let's buy this tour guide. And it shows $9. And it's got the two towers in the background.
That's right. The Twin Towers.
Shows 9/11.
9/11, which it doesn't really, but
it doesn't. Yes, exactly. It shows $9.
It shows the $9. Yeah, and to me, I'm like, okay, that's a little weak, but it's a big deal because people make a big deal out of this. That they predicted 9/11.
Well, okay, so this is the thing, and you start getting down the rabbit hole on this, right? So some people talk about how the dollar bills he holds up also encode unusual twin pillar symbolism. And they draw comparisons between the design of his dollar bills and the design of the Masonic tracing board.
Oh.
Yeah, no, we're talking people.
Someone's got way too much time on their hands.
Like more time than we have. Like, honestly, folks.
Yeah.
Well, I will admit I did not spend years researching this to become an expert. We
are not experts on this. If you're listening and expect expert level conversation about this, you are in the wrong podcast.
We are so sorry. We are so sorry. Yeah. I am so sorry I've wasted your time.
You're here because we are easy to listen to, and you will feel smarter by doing so.
It's right, or at least in comparison to us. So, have you ever watched Stargate, Phil?
I did. The original
the series, not the movie.
Yeah, the series with MacGyver.
Okay, that's right. The poor bastard. Richard Dean Anderson is now known as MacGyver forever.
I know.
So you
that's
know
his name? No.
So you know the fellow who played the archaeologist on that?
Yes, the guy with the glasses.
Yeah, I can't remember. Daniel something or other. So I actually caught him at Comic-Con. He does panels, right? So and he was there. It was great to see him.
Right.
And I was actually there because he had played Hawkman in a episode of Smallville, I think. I was like, hey,
Fantasy Island.
Was he in Fantasy Island?
No, Hawkman was.
Was he?
Yeah. It'll be right here.
Okay, good to know. Anyway, he's sitting up there and he says, people come up to me all the time and they say, you're the reason I became an archaeologist. And he's like, he looks at them in the eye and says, I am so sorry. It's a character, right? That's not what really archaeology is like, right?
Yeah. You realize I don't interdimensionally travel.
None of this stuff, like most of archaeology is looking at dead people's things that have been around for a real long time.
Well, look at the guy that played JR on Dallas. I remember my grandmother, she'd be like, I fucking hate that guy. He had death threats. He was shot.
Oh, God. What the hell? Now I'm drawing a blank on his name. He was also in I Dream of Jeannie.
Yes, he was.
Larry Hagman.
That
there we go. I still got it.
Oh, he's such a bad guy. But, he was a nice guy in real life.
He was actually apparently a really great guy in real life.
He'd even tell people, hey, look, it's a character. I'm really a nice man. I have children, and they like me.
Who did shoot JR? It was, what's her name? The wife of the other dude with the afro.
I have no idea. What? What are you talking about?
Well, there was the other guy, his brother, his wife, I think, shot.
I think it was a fan, or not a fan, but like an anti-fan.
Are we talking in real life, or are we talking in the movie?
In real life.
Okay, I'm not talking in real life. I'm talking in the show. Who shot?
You watched Dallas?
I did not watch Dallas. I was vaguely aware of it because it shows up all over the place.
Yeah, my grandmother used to watch Dallas and and The Young and the Restless.
I was real badly sick for a week, and I remember back in the day you had 4 channels, and the only thing on during daytime was soap operas, and you're lying on the couch looking for stimulation.
Do they still have stimulation? What?
You're looking for something to watch.
Do I need to cut the break here?
Anyway,
onward and upward.
So 9/11 predicted by Simpsons, very tenuous, but
yeah,
here we go.
I'm not buying it. I'm not
buying it either. Yeah, I think it's another thing that's been debunked.
Yeah. Well, this was interesting, and this did happen. Faulty voter machines. Predicted in 2008.
The Obama McCain one, yeah.
Yeah, so it came true in 2012, and this was caught on film. This was So in the episode, it shows that it was a faulty machine because they were trying to select, and Obama was running at that time, so he was popular. And yeah, it was selecting the Republican candidate. So the guy inputs Obama, and the camera's catching it, and then it switches to, was it McCain? Was it McCain?
I believe it was McCain. He was
whoever the Republican.
It was the Palin McCain ticket, I think.
Oh yeah. So anyway, and then that's legit. That was shot. But now, is it a prediction, or once again it could be, hey, wouldn't it be funny? Because nobody wants to have Obama as president.
Or you have a voting machine that switches your vote because you didn't physically write it down. I mean, that's not hard
machines,
to guess.
Machines fuck up. But that's, if it's made by man, there's a good chance.
You were just talking about how you like Macs over PCs, right? And that is a perfect example of it.
Yeah, for sure. So that was an interesting one. However,
but it wasn't really debunked. It's more, and that's what I think the takeaway from all this is it's more coincidental, right?
Yeah. And I think that all of them they're all, but there's one that really struck me, but I won't get into that now.
Okay, so it's my turn for mine. So I'm running. I've only got 2 left, and I'm pretty sure you're going to grab one of them.
Maybe.
So I'm going with the inauguration.
Which inauguration? Of
the
Trump?
Inauguration of Kamala Harris.
Have you not
seen this one? Have you not seen this one?
No.
So I'll send you a picture. And basically, so in one episode, I believe it's called Bart to the Future.
Okay.
Right. It's where you've got Lisa Simpson is president, and she says, we really inherited a big mess from President Trump.
Yeah. So that's
right. Which is another one, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll touch on that.
You're fucking ruining this.
I'm not ruining this. Okay. But in this one,
it's my number 12.
Number 12. Jesus.
Never mind.
Are you going to go through? I've only got 2 left. I'll get you what my one after this is. I'll give you a hint.
Okay. It's probably Trump. Okay.
It's probably Trump. So anyway, in this case, the outfit that Lisa wears is identical, and use the term loosely, to Kamala Harris.
Right.
So, and also not just that, it's Tom Hanks showing up.
Oh, and wasn't Tom Hanks at the inauguration?
He was, right. So there's now they link the Tom Hanks thing to in the Simpson movie in 2007. He shows up in there, and it's basically like, hey, what do they say? Hey, I'm Tom Hanks. The U.S. government has lost its credibility, so I'm borrowing it some of mine, right? And he shows up at the inauguration, so which again is pretty tenuous. Yeah. But the whole concept of him showing up at an inaugural surprise is a celebrity.
You got to remember, there were 700 fucking episodes of this show.
Like, yeah, even a Broken Watch is right twice per day. So even if it didn't,
so we're talking about in total, there's maybe 30 interesting little quips that are, like what we're talking about. Out of all that material, hours and hours of material.
We've only got a few that are decent-ish, right? And
one of the biggest ones, and I'll just play off of that one because you already said it, is Donald Trump. So they predicted. So that same episode, Lisa is becoming president in the future, and she beat out Donald Trump for presidency. Yeah. So then everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
For his second term, so he had one full term.
He had one full term. That's right.
Right, and they've got pictures. Did you see
of
the picture
him
where
as speaking? Yeah.
But you see the picture where it shows him waving from the stairwell in the episode, and then a similar picture of him actually doing that in real life.
No.
Yeah, but again, it's take it for what it is. I mean, surprise.
Yeah, I mean, almost every president does the exact same goddamn thing that every president before him does. I mean, I think it's almost like the Queen, right? Like there is an etiquette of.
It's a trope. It's a trope.
Yeah, you get off your plane and you're hello, salute, hello. Step down don't fall down. You're lying, as Trump almost did. So,
my brother likes to point out about Joe. He says Joe does and Joe's had this. Joe's had the same kind of. I mean, this is what happens when you elect people.
Well, Alzheimer's will do that to you too.
People in their 70s being president. What the hell? I mean, Obama was in his 50s when he was president, and he looked 100 by the time
when he got done. Yeah, like oh fuck, that dude. And Michelle just looked younger. She didn't. She's like, oh, we're getting a spa today. What are you doing, Barack? Right? I don't know. Israel again.
Israel. I think I'm invading Iran. I'm not sure. There's nukes.
Some little, North Korean guy keeps calling me, threatening my life.
My country. Oh. I'm going to move Washington a little closer to, I don't know, Canada.
Yeah, it's fucked up. I don't know. I don't wish that on anybody, and especially a man that age. Like, these guys are putting in fucking. Well, they should be. He's in bed probably by 6. Warm milk at 5:30.
I'm in bed by 8, 9 o'clock.
No, I know.
I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I mean, what time do you think he gets up at?
Oh, I don't know. At his age, he's probably sleeping 3 hours a night. He's up to piss at least twice, guaranteed. I don't know.
So they predicted Trump. They predicted Trump getting elected.
Yeah, which is. And I read about, I think it was Oakley, one of the writers. Is it Bill Oakley?
Bill Oakley, yeah.
Bill Oakley. And he said in an interview, he said, we just thought of the most ridiculous person that could possibly, misrepresent our country. He goes, that was our train of thought. We're like, okay, what would be the most ass-backwards person that we could put as a president?
And it's funny you mentioned that. Yeah. So Trump, a lot of I particularly detest the 90s for comic books.
Yes.
But you read them and they keep talking about Trump, whether it's DC or Marvel. I didn't read any of the Malibus and whatever, but both of them keep talking about Trump as so how Einstein is a really smart guy? Yes. Oh, my shoulders disappeared there for a second.
You phased in and out like the Philadelphia Project.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to tweak with the camera. I got a new camera, folks, so there's some work to go on.
You look dreamy, by the way.
Thank you. It's an expensive camera. It is. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
So anyway, they had Trump as he was sort of the byword for the rich guy, right? So
the rich social alpha prick, basically.
Right. Basically, exactly. So he was the Einstein. He was the Einstein of the millionaires, right? Like the millionaire developer, etc. So he kept.
You're super smart. You're an Einstein. If you're super rich, you're a Trump. I get it.
Right. It's a demonstration of some level of status, wealth. So it makes sense that they would say, well, okay, who's a rich guy who would run for president? I mean, nobody figured Perot. He ran for president.
Ross Perot. He did. No man under 5 feet tall.
But he ran as a third party, and he actually
as an independent. Yeah.
And I think he torpedoed. He was what was that one episode of Simpsons where they talked about the two aliens? I voted for Klaatu or
no, I don't know.
The two aliens, like
he lost.
It's a two-party system.
Terribly. Yeah. Even though
he stole votes away. But he stole votes away.
He did. Yeah. But at the we are totally off topic. What's our next one? What's our next
next topic or next because like I said, you stole my Trump one.
No, wait, no, you're next for this. I stole your Trump one. So you don't have a next one.
That's okay. No, that's okay. Oh. I don't have. So what I have. So I didn't just investigate the conspiracies. Right. One thing I investigated. So I'm a big fan of anybody who's gone to our website, which is probably no one, because I haven't done the SEO stuff. Well, I know you've gone. That doesn't count, Phil.
I go twice a day.
And my mom goes, which I maybe she doesn't go. Mom, if you go, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I put up my crazy board, which is all link analysis. So when I do my research, I'll go off and I will find. So I did like Matt Groening and Bill Oakley. So one of the things that came up with Matt Groening is they said, hey, he's a time traveler. Oh, no, that's not why he knows. He's a Freemason.
Oh, well.
So did you read that about Matt Groening being a Freemason?
No.
Do you remember the Stonecutters episode?
Yes.
Who keeps the metric system down? We do. So apparently, I haven't watched enough Simpsons to verify this, but there's a lot of Masonic imagery in Simpsons episodes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that would be interesting to kind of research that a little bit.
Correct. It'd be curious to see how it shows up, if it does show up constantly. So anyway, the thought is that the reason why he's able to predict the future because he's a Freemason. Oh. He's not a Freemason, by the way. That has completely been debunked.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah,
so anybody who says he's a Freemason says, hey, it's like most Freemasons. I mean, it's like the worst kept secret society in the world.
I know quite a few guys that are Freemasons, and they're good people. And
I know people who freebase.
Oh, Jesus. Pants on or off?
I didn't ask.
Okay, good. But anyway, I mean, we need to have. I should see if I can get one of our Freemason fellows to join the show.
That would make an excellent choice for the episode I plan on, but we'll cover that later.
We'll cover that later. Yes.
So that's what I got, Phil. Like I said, there are a lot of these things. I could go off. I have all my notes, but I sort of picked the.
Well, that's okay. I think I got some pretty good ones that I saw that I thought, because I just sort of avoided some of the ones that I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, well, here, tell you what, I'll do this one.
Okay, you go ahead.
The time Milhouse predicted a Nobel Prize winner.
Okay, no, this one is a good one. Don't even go there. This is a.
Do you want to keep this? I'll leave this to you. If you want to go with this one,
well, we can go together.
We'll do it together.
Let's do this. Don't make it weird.
Don't make it weird. Don't look.
Jesus.
Don't look at me.
So, and I'm going to be honest, this is actually my favorite one of the whole. This is my absolute favorite, and I'll tell you.
Super obscure. Super obscure. Like
the odds of this fucking happening.
This is not
fucking pretty slim. Yeah, you go ahead. I'll bring it. Yeah.
So Milhouse, the long and short of it is Milhouse basically predicts that Benget R. Holstrom wins the Nobel Prize for economics
in the year.
So the guy won the prize in 2016, but Milhouse predicted this. Now I don't know the year, but I know he predicted it in season 2, episode 1. So
2010.
So if it ran, yeah.
So yeah, and
which is super obscure. That's a
super
obscure reference.
The Nobel Prize in economics for this fucking dude that nobody even knew about 6 years
prior. 6 years prior to when it happened.
The Nobel Prize. To me, that is like rolling snake eyes like 20 times. I mean, what are the odds?
That's insane.
It is pretty insane. And to me, of all of the things that I read, and actually I keep it, and underneath I wrote, "The fuck?" and big question marks.
And see, this one isn't sexy. That's the thing. This is the one that actually is the scariest.
If you had to pick one, if I had to choose, I would say this one. Okay, there's something fucking up with this, because who even gives a shit who wins the Nobel Prize in fucking economics? Can you name one Nobel Prize winner in economics other than Bengt Holstrom?
That's right. I now learned one. Does he count?
It makes no sense. So yeah, for me, it's probably the most profound of all of them.
Well, it's the one that when you look at it, right? Again, the Trump becoming president, he's a celebrity, rich celebrity becoming president.
How shocking.
Exactly. Wow.
Ronald Reagan.
Okay, well, I don't know how rich or how, I mean,
Reagan was a superstar, man. He was a fucking movie star.
He was, but.
And a football legend. In his own mind.
His own mind. So it's like Schwarzenegger becoming the governor, right? The governor.
Governor of California, man. That's crazy. Yeah. So, you take a guy like him and you go, okay, came from like Austria. Didn't speak English when he got here. Then he
made Hercules Goes Berserk that they've dubbed over because he says, acting was so terrible.
I'm going to become the greatest bodybuilder in the world.
He did. Apparently his key was his calves. So what he would do is he would do this thing with his, like when he was doing his pose down,
he would those calves.
He would do like almost like a flutter, like the muscle control he had
was incredible.
Was incredible.
Yeah. Then he says, "Fuck that! I'm going to be one of the largest movie stars that ever walked the face of the planet."
He's not that big though. He's not that actually.
Terminator. He did a fucking huge A.
Oh no, I'm referring size wise.
He's not that huge. No,
he's not that huge. He's still he can still
a big
kick
dude.
my ass, but he's not like Shaquille O'Neal, 8 feet tall.
He says, "You know what? I'm going to marry a Kennedy just for fun.
And I'm going to cheat on her with the maid because...
With an ugly maid and have a child with it. A love child.
That literally looks like me. Like you look at him, you're like,
He's a Mexican Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I don't. That's right.
And then I'm going to become governor of California because I can. Okay.
And the only thing stopping him from becoming president
is there anything?
He wasn't born there.
He wasn't born in. He wasn't born, but they could change that. You never know.
Well, he literally said when Trump was complaining about Schwarzenegger taking over Trump's role in The Apprentice.
Oh, okay.
And Trump was basically saying, the ratings are tanking, and Schwarzenegger was like, hey, if you want to switch jobs, buddy, let me know.
Let me know.
I'll do your job. You can do mine.
A fantastic president. This one was interesting. It was the God particle.
Oh, that's the one with the chalkboard. Homer standing.
So yes,
donut.
so
yes, yeah.
It's an episode where Homer becomes an inventor and he's doing some stuff, and on this chalkboard in the background is written the theory for the God particle, which is basically now the God particle. This was in 1998, so the God particle.
Boson. This is the Higgs boson.
Higgs boson, yeah, but everybody knows it as the God particle. God particle theory, but it was proven. Well, it was not proven or developed until 2012. 14 years later.
It was the key thing with this is it was theoretical at this point. Like you had your fellows like Hawking saying, okay.
Right. No, it was from 1993, I believe it was when it was first proposed or something like that. But it was very odd that it was the actual formula was written on the chalkboard. And that to me was a little bit interesting.
You know why it was there, right?
No idea.
David Cohen has a math background.
Oh.
Apparently. So it was written into the script by David Cohen, who's one of the people with a math background show.
Yeah.
What he put in was a plausible guess at the time. So it wasn't like totally out of left field.
No, it wasn't. It was like, what the fuck? And yeah, it's pretty damn close to the actual formula, from my understanding.
Yeah, I think they say the mass is a bit larger. Like it's a bit.
Yeah.
It's off, but it's that kind of esoteric. And this was some of the cooler stuff about Simpson.
Well, they had a lot of really smart fucking people.
Well, just when it wasn't how dumb Homer is, like they would include these little gags in there.
I think, yeah, and a lot of people like The Simpsons because there is a lot of smart humor.
I used to like The Simpsons because I want to say after season 10, they stopped so much. Like it became more like how dumb, like look at the stupid thing. It basically became family. Like Family Guy and Simpsons, I think Family Guy became what Simpsons became. So Simpsons became how dumb Homer is. Remember, Simpsons used to be, and maybe you don't remember this, used to be really focused on Bart. Oh, you capricious scamp, right?
Yeah.
And then it became how dumb Homer is.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Same thing like Family Guy. Family Guy stopped becoming how crazy Stewie is and how dumb Peter is.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah. And instead of how smart, I do like Family Guy.
I figured you would.
I do. I think I'm just more of a Seth, MacFarlane. Yeah, I just like the.
Did you watch his The Orville?
I did. I started to, and I didn't finish it.
I finished season 1. I never followed on after that.
Is there more in season 1?
I think there's 3 seasons. Or
he's funny. Going. He's hilarious, but I didn't find his co-hosts very funny.
It's something you have to give them. Like any show, you have to give them time, right?
Yeah,
so you have to give at least 3 episodes. If it doesn't grab you by the 3 episodes.
Yeah, well, Space Force I watched. And
Space Force. You just like Stephen Carell.
I love Stephen Carell, yeah. And I loved it. John Malkovich and Steve, they're fucking hilarious. Have you watched it?
I am a big fan. Yes, I watched all of it. The ending was quite great.
I love the what's his handle? Funny Asian Dude. At Funny Asian Dude. It's the scientist. He's a comedian. He's a stand-up comedian. I can't remember.
Okay, I don't remember much. Yeah, I don't remember it to that level. But I'm a big John Malkovich. I love John Malkovich. His deadpan is so good.
He's so good. I can't wait for season 2. So, moving on.
Okay, I've got one that is completely. I'm just randomly pulling now.
I thought you were out of them.
Okay, I'm out of the ones that actually I thought were good. Okay, I've now got the ones that I'm like I have a list. If you want to see a bunch, folks, check out our website under episodes. You'll see all my notes for this, and I've got a bunch here. The Team USA's Olympic curling win, which again,
I have that one here too.
Yeah, which is kind of lame, but it's.
Yeah, let me get to it because do you have much on it?
I just have that they upset Sweden in the 2018 Olympics.
Yeah,
this was a 2010.
They predicted it in 2010, and it came through in 2018.
But in which Homer and Marge made it into doubles.
Yeah. It's fucking weird. Yeah.
Which again, so if you think of a thing like Sweden, they're likely to do well at something like curling because it's a winter games. Like it's like Canada doing well. We do well at the winter games.
We always do. Yeah. It's the only thing we do well at. You get like 4 medals in Summer Olympic.
Mostly bronze related.
Maple syrup. Yeah. How many gallons can you chug before you barf? Go. Fucking Canadians. All right. The Lady Gaga halftime show.
Okay, now this one is ridiculous. Honestly,
it is hilarious.
It's hilarious, but it's ridiculous in the sense of
it was predicted in 2012.
Yes,
but it does not. So Lady Gaga, the cartoon version, it's her playing her.
She's doing a cameo.
She's doing her cameo. She hangs in the air to perform her song. 5 years later, a real life Lady Gaga is hanging from a stadium, singing, wearing very similar attire.
Again, do you not see? This is where I look at this. Like they didn't predict the future. This is her saying,
"Hey, remember that episode that I was on? Let's recreate that. Yeah,
why don't we do that? That'll be fun."
Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought too. But do you have another one?
Okay, I've got another one. Greece's debt default.
Yeah, I had that one too. So that was. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, this was 2012. Okay, so this is where it was predicted in 2012 and happened in 2015. If you knew anything about Greece, you could have predicted this from 2000.
So it wasn't a big thing though on their screen. It was actually what was happening. She was being interviewed, right? And Homer's on a cable news.
That's right. He's on.
Yeah, and it's a ticker tape.
It's a ticker in the background, right?
And all it says is Europe puts Greece on eBay.
Yes.
So.
And this is something that you like again back to the whole being from
Greece have been having problems though for a long time.
They were the weak. They were the sick man of Europe forever. This is one of those things when you have a country where you want to give everybody everything, but nobody wants to pay anything.
Yeah, that becomes a problem.
It becomes a big problem. Like this is the issue we're going to run into. But we at least have the excuse of the coronavirus. So
yeah, eventually we will succumb to our debt. Or unless we all forgive it, it becomes one big mess.
Or we just do some creative accounting, man.
Hey, that's true. We could do that. Maybe.
All right, what's your last one, buddy? I think we're rounding the bend here.
We're getting there. I got a few more.
So oh dear Lord.
Slow the fuck down.
Oh my God.
Slow your roll. All right.
Slow your roll.
NSA spying scandal.
Again, predict that NSA spies on people.
Yeah. The government spies on its people. So anyway, it was predicted in 2007, right? The NSA wiretaps private citizens, checks their emails. No, Canadian government would never do that, by the way.
Yeah, I think we did something accidentally-ish in the Toronto airport where we captured a bunch of metadata. Made the news. We were very sorry it wasn't intentional because we're not supposed to spy on our citizens. Neither is the U.S., by the way.
They're not.
They're not supposed to, except when they do.
In 2013, this guy, you may have heard of him, Edward Snowden.
We call him Fast Eddie.
Fast Eddie. He fucking got the fuck out of the country. He broke loose with WikiLeaks and all sorts of stuff. He basically worked for the government, had all this information, and
he was a contractor. He was a contractor.
And he went public and he was like, yeah, this is what happened. And then the government went, where the fuck are you, Edward? And he's like, I'm in Switzerland, blah, blah, blah.
Actually, he wasn't so fast. Fun fact, poor Eddie didn't plan his escape very well. He wound up going to Hong Kong.
Always in Hong Kong.
And then had tried to flee to South America, I think Ecuador or something. Yeah. Wound up getting stuck in Russia and where he's to this day.
Is he still in Russia?
He's in the land of freedom and transparency that is Russia right now.
Yeah. And I'm sure land of freedom and transparency.
Putin's doing it to fit the big bird of the U.S.
Yeah.
You better give us a big cookie if you want us to give you. We're not giving you this guy because.
No, but they want him. They're like, you fucking rat. You rat.
So this is the problem, right? So poor Edward is in a situation where unless the president says, I acknowledge, which maybe Biden would, I don't think they're that progressive because that encourages other whistleblowers. And then you have to sort of say, okay, is it illegal if the government made a law allowing it to happen?
Is it? But it's a national security thing, right? national security. That you need to read my email. Go ahead. That's what I say. I can read it.
Says that. Okay, that's like so. I think you have a reasonable expectation of privacy. I disagree. I'm a bit of I believe you have a reasonable expectation of privacy.
Sure.
Now, if you're in a public space, you have no expectation of privacy. But if I'm sitting in my house,
I'm not saying I want anyone to, but I mean, I think 99.9% of all people, it's almost like a ridiculous thing for a government to do, because there's how much mundane shit are you going to sift through to try and find something that's
when you reset your banking password, where do you get the link from?
Reset on what now?
Your banking password.
I don't even have a banking password.
Okay, if you did, I'll give you a hint. They send it to your email. So the problem with this idea of, read my emails, they're boring as shit. Well, okay.
Well, no, obviously you could steal. And I mean,
what do you think? So government is not a thing. It is a collection of people. So you see this all the time in policing.
You want to feel the power of the government? Let me explain a little bit of power of the fucking government here. So I had a really great year in business. Fantastic year one time.
Are you going to be doing this from jail? Is there bars behind you, fella? You're in your cell right now.
No, this is a legit thing. But we're always above board. But I had a good year.
You said that while looking down, Phil.
Well, I was closing my pen.
Yeah, sure, right. You're like,
anyway,
I had a good year.
Stop it.
We were honest.
Profiling me. Look at this forehead. You can't. This forehead is.
You're not looking up. I think if you look up to the left, you're making things up. If you look up to the right, you're.
I'm not making this up. This is fucking true to form. So I ended up owing the government for this year. My business partner too. We both owed the government. On our private. So once we did our corporate taxes, then you have to file your personal. So you don't escape your personal tax. But because we did very well and we pay ourselves in a dividend, right? We don't pay ourselves as paychecks. We pay ourselves as dividend. We ended up owing the government a fairly large sum of money each. It had a fair amount of zeros. Enough that it was like, holy fuck. We were both like, what the hell is this?
I owed $55. Just so we're clear, I owed $55.
Yeah, it was substantially more than $55. It was like $86 or something. Anyway, it was like, so we got our notice of assessments back. Within 3 days, we were both like, what the fuck is this? I'm going to have to take out a loan to fucking pay this. Like, what is going on? We get a call at the shop. And I see Dylan. He's like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. And Dylan like hands me the phone. And this dude from Revenue Canada says, Mr. Orton. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, you owe us X amount of dollars. And I'm like, yeah, I just got the letter. He's like, yeah. And how do you expect to pay that? And I'm like,
with money?
With money. He's like, and when? When would you like to pay that? And I'm like,
I have the money.
And I'm like, is this like a trick question? And he's like, okay. And he goes, you bank at, and he fucking told me my bank. He told me my bank account number. Mm-hmm. He told me my SIN number. He told me all the things. He told me where else I bank. He told me where my bank account was.
This is all stuff that shows up in your credit report, by the way, which they can pull.
Except for the amounts that are in your bank account.
They can ask the bank as a government agency to get that information. So,
and I'm like, oh yeah, that's fairly accurate. He goes, if you're wondering if I'm legit, he goes, these are the, and he's like, your last transaction was blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the fuck?
And your blood cholesterol level is X.
I'm like, who do I make the check out to? I mean, fuck. And we ended up, I couldn't pay the whole amount right out of my savings account because it was fairly high.
Which they knew because they knew what your savings account was.
Yeah, they fucking, he's like, yeah, well, here's what you can afford. So, and I'm like, that is a crazy call. Like, we paid it,
So it's funny you mentioned what the government knows. So when I worked for IBM, we managed a data center for them. Okay. And back in the day, this would have been early 2000s. Mm-hmm. Somebody realized that you could run one job that would pull from all the different departments. So HRDC could go off. You could run this one job that would pull from Health Canada, CRA, everywhere.
Right.
And compile all the information the government had on you in one spot. They were called the Big Brother files.
Wow.
Yeah, it turns out people were really upset about that. So
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, once that came to light that and again, it was just a job. Like it's how interconnected all the systems were.
Yeah, for sure.
So what they had to do was first off, we had a rack of tapes. I'm going to say tapes. They're not the big reels. They're actually like cassette tapes. So they were like, I think 3480s or 3490s, which stored,
whatever that is.
It's stored like 500 megs. So pathetic. But think like cassette tapes, and you're not too wrong. Like it was all magnetic media.
Yeah.
Right. And you put these in the big files. So those were set aside. These were all the files somebody had ran this job and generated. For the next year and a half, you could go off and put a request in for HRDC, and they would have me in the middle of the night with 2 HRDC security guards standing over my shoulder, printing off your Big Brother file. So what they had on you.
Really?
Yes. And it would be a big stack, and it'd be everything. Like we're talking now. I never looked at them. One of my coworkers, I don't know what the hell he was thinking with the security guards looking over him, decided to start flipping through them. And the security guard's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. It's none of your business.
It's none of your fucking business.
We're going to read this later.
What the hell are you doing?
Having our lunch.
So what would happen?
I want to see what Helen really owes.
They would get printed on these big info print printers, which were crazy, and you would put them away, right? So the whole idea of your government knowing an awful lot about you, it does.
Yeah, then there's no doubt, and I'm not.
But that's why it's really important that if you don't take steps to protect your privacy, assume you have none. VPNs, folks.
Protect your privacy. Change your passwords for God's sakes.
Yeah, Phil, I literally got physically ill when I saw some of the passwords you'd use.
Hey, I can't remember any other passwords.
Password 869. What the hell?
Hey, wait a minute. We have a lot of viewers now. 130, actually. Thank you. Like and subscribe. We are off topic, though.
We've been off topic for probably a good 7 minutes, but
that's okay. We've got time. We got a few more. What else do we have here?
Okay,
Smartwatches.
Smartwatch. Oh no! Come on, let me do mine first.
Okay, you do yours first.
The Ebola outbreak.
Oh yeah, I did that one too. Isn't that?
Yeah.
But that was
Curious George and the Ebola virus.
Yes, she reads the book. Marge is reading a book to. Is it Homer that's sick? Someone's sick.
Anyway. I just remember it was like a kid who was sick, basically a kid with Ebola was given a book about.
So this is in 1997. And then they say that is the 2015 Ebola crisis.
2014 American Ebola.
Is it 2014?
That's
close enough.
Whether it's accurate or not, I don't know.
Well, I don't know either. This is like WikiLeaks here.
And again, Ebola had been rocking all over Africa.
Oh,
it was a regular occurrence in Africa. So
yeah. What else do I have?
Show up here?
I don't really have much more. I mean, there was quite a few. Smartwatches. That would be my last one. And that was in 1995. Lisa goes to a fair and is transported to the future. And everyone has a smartwatch. And that came true in 2014. So,
which again is not so much.
Look at like Star Trek.
Look at Back to the Future. I mean, you got, right? I mean, if you want to talk about somebody who predicted the future, Marty McFly and Doc Brown.
Doc. What was his fucking name?
Did you know if you ever watched Rick and Morty? You have no idea. You're not.
I have no idea.
So you would probably like Rick and Morty. You should watch it.
I should.
It was originally supposed to be Doc Brown and Marty is what it was, but they couldn't get the rights to those characters, so they created Rick and Morty.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Marty and Rick.
Rick's not a doctor. I don't think he's a doctor of anything, but he's like the crazy mad scientist. Like, yeah. If you ever get a chance, look at Rick and Morty.
I will.
I stopped after season 1 just because, I don't know, it's popular and the hipster in me refuses to watch stuff that's popular.
You're such a hipster. Whatever that means.
So I got the last one. So if you're done, I got one more.
I'm done. I've got nothing else.
FIFA corruption scandal.
Who now?
The FIFA corruption scandal. Again, this is one of those
I did have that one, but I was embarrassed to actually say.
It's totally embarrassed. It's like 2014.
Yeah.
Is when it was predicted.
And then it came true in 2015.
So they predicted, Homer's arrest turned out to be uncannily some of those are real life FIFA officials.
Yeah.
Arrest on corruption about a year later. So come on, seriously.
They did predict that Germany would beat Brazil in the 2014 World Cup.
The German team is machines.
For sure. Brazil's pretty good too, but you do have a 50-50 chance.
I can't remember. I was in Newfoundland with Melissa and I were in Newfoundland with our friends Wendy and Vince. Mm-hmm. And Vince and I went with Melissa's brother Mark to a pub, and we were watching the World Cup when it was Italy and Germany.
Oh, okay.
And there was like one German guy there. Like again, he looked like the Aryan, like the perfect Aryan, like the short hair. I don't know if he did any salutes. Don't know if he did any salutes or that, but we actually had some pints with him, and we were like Azzurre, Azzurre. And Vince is Italian, so he had a horse in that race, and I believe the Italians won.
It's Brazil.
Okay, I'm talking the World Cup we watched. It was not.
I'm like, he thinks.
But the Germans were machines. You would see them move down the field. Like it's like watching.
I wouldn't take you as a soccer fan.
I'm not, but
I'm more of a Manchester United fellow.
I do like drinking, and if you've never been to
Tuesday, you're slapping back bourbon.
Correct. And this is our audit week at work, so it was a long day, so I needed this drink.
Yes.
But have you ever played football?
Of course.
Okay, so that's basically the German team. They literally move down the field like football.
Yeah, just
like in line, and
statues.
They just ball goes down, ball comes back, ball goes down, and they just grind you to dust.
Yeah,
that's at least when I watch that World Cup.
Oh, I've never watched a World Cup. I do like watching soccer when I have time, but I'm not a sports guy anymore. I used to like watching hockey. I used to like watching.
I'm not a sports guy, period. I played rugby, but I'm not really.
You did. That was it, Mr. Sinclair.
Yes, Rod Sinclair. Yes,
he
was my coach.
Me mercilessly.
Yes,
play.
I could have used you on the team. I was a little guy who would run around the sides. I needed big guys to stop people.
I know. Fuck that.
Well, I tell you, we did. I remember one tournament we went to, and on the way down, Mr. Sinclair is telling about how, he's played with guys in the past, and one guy got his pancreas ruptured.
For sure, these are guys playing a full contact sport with no pads or even knee pads.
So we're playing in the tournament, and I remember passing the ball off, and the guy's name was Dan, and he's going down for a successful try, and I'm just like basking in the glory, like. I helped we still lost, but I helped this point happen.
Nice.
And this bald bastard, who was probably going $120. I was like this. I was like, yes, basically broke me in half. Like I literally folded in half. Now, thankfully I was about 140 pounds soaking wet with boots on. And I didn't have boots on, so I was a little lighter. He hit me. I folded in half and I'm lying on the ground thinking to myself, I think I ruptured my pancreas. I don't know what it feels like.
Damn you, Rod Sinclair.
Damn you, Rod Sinclair. Thankfully, we went drinking in the pub later. The Ricker's Red bugged me. You would have loved it, Phil. You would have loved it.
I probably would have. I don't know why.
We used to play it in the Memorial Gardens, the field there.
I think I was doing martial arts too at the time.
Probably a lot of coke.
What? Yeah, probably. No. But I had to, because I was out of town, right? So I had to go to, so it was after school. And
yeah, we went to Memorial Environment, the park, whatever, is it Lee Park or which one behind Memorial Gardens?
I think that's Lee Park. No, that's not.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's Lee Park.
Is it? I don't know. There is where we played rugby. And then we went to, I think, it's down near Toronto. Anyway, got liquored up afterwards. Pain went away.
Sounds about right.
Got into a fight over the one bed in the room. Next thing I know, I woke up on the floor next morning. I think I lost the fight.
No pants.
No, I had pants on. I literally.
Oh, good.
There was a lot of wrestling and pushing.
Then you didn't lose that bad. Then
I didn't lose. That's right. I didn't lose that bad. Did not lose that bad. You wake up with your pants on. You didn't lose that badly.
We're off topic again.
Yes,
but let's wrap this up. What do you think? Do you think that they time traveled into the future,
or that they're a Freemason and they know secrets?
They're secretive those Freemasons.
No, a lot of the stuff is either you really read into it, right? It's the hindsight is 2020 thing. Sure. Oh, look, they said this, right? Nostradamus runs into the same thing.
Of course.
Right? The two brothers.
What I liked was, I think it was Bill Oakley, and one of the interviews that I watched, and he said, history repeats itself. It just It just does.
There are cycles. The wheel of time, right?
Cycle of time. He goes like we based, like you said, based the pandemic idea off of a pandemic from
1968.
Yeah,
right.
And these people are. I mean, they're cycling through writers, but you think back in '97, you may have had writers who were in their 40s or 50s, and that they would remember those times, right? Like, and they come from a different era.
That's right, or be aware of it. Like they might not
be aware of it.
They might not have lived through the 1968 flu pandemic. But
there's a really good chance that if they were 40 in 1997, right? You can go back 30, 40 years.
History class, right? History class, it can only cover what has happened up to this point.
That's right.
So they would have been exposed.
Or it would be future class.
It would be future class. Whereas I do not envy the poor kids. I mean, aside from the whole pandemic schooling, taking history now, I'm like, I only had to remember, 50 years of history?
So my kids, it's funny you say that because I remember history being one of my favorite. I had Gooderham.
Mr. Gooderham. I had Mr. Siebel.
I had
Siebel.
No, I didn't have Siebel. But I had Mr. Gooderham.
That's my mom calling, but
you should probably answer that.
Unless we'll pick it up, or I will call her back after the podcast.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying. That's your mom, dude.
Yes, and don't worry, it'll be fine.
Okay. But yeah, it was one of my favorite classes was with, they made it exciting. We talked about all sorts of great stuff. Okay, pick up that goddamn phone. God damn it, Cory.
I will call her back. Okay,
I'm feeling horrible. Our watchers are feeling horrible.
They are not feeling horrible, okay? It's my fault that the phone's on my desk and you can hear it with my answering machine. I will call her back.
And who the fuck has an answering machine?
A lot of telemarketers. I do.
Why? Anyway, don't you have
Anyway, you were saying about Mr. Gooderham and Mr. Siebel.
You're right. You got me off topic here.
I didn't get you off topic.
Feeling guilty.
Sorry, Mom, if you're listening or watching to this.
I said pick it up. I'm just saying.
Phil was a good son. Yes.
Yes. It was always interesting. Then when I did history with my kids, I was kind of excited. When they got into high school, I was like, "Oh, history! And I can help." And like they're not studying anything that we studied. No explorers, no. Yeah, just not no World War II stuff really.
Which is too bad because World War II was an absolute, just I can't get enough documentary. Okay, maybe not for the people who lived through it, i.e., the Jews.
No, but I found it interesting. And I
tons of interesting stuff because it was one of the largest events in our lifetime. Well, not our lifetimes, but you get the idea.
In that time period.
Yeah, this isn't the Spartan. This isn't the the hot gates of Thermopylae back in Spartan days.
However,
okay, so
how times have changed.
Times have changed, but they will repeat again. So Simpsons will continue, throwing. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and they're taking shots, and some of them land.
Some of them land, and they did about 30 times, ish.
Out of like 700 episodes.
7,000 shots taken. There's a few, but I thought it was interesting. It was a fun one. I mean, we kind of got away from killers for a bit. We were getting a little gloomy there. The Gloom and Doom podcast brought to you by the OC.
I blame you, Phil.
John Wayne Gacy, then Jack the Ripper.
If you had picked Gacy, I wouldn't have picked Jack.
It's weird. You were getting me back, I think.
Yeah, well, I was getting we were thematically following, which, funny enough, next week.
Yeah, what is
this weekend? Freemasons.
Oh my goodness.
So to link back to the whole Matt Groening not being a Freemason.
Yeah.
Basically, it's not going to be necessarily a history lesson. It's going to be more talking about some of the conspiracies regarding Freemasons. So there's going to be a bit of an element of, hey, here's what the Freemasons are, but here's the crazy stuff. Because I
think the people that are Freemasons, and I mean, I think they sit back and go, "That's fucking funny." Yeah, I think they're just like, right, But I mean, I find it interesting. I mean, there's a lot of history there, a lot of really intellectual and powerful people were Masons.
Yeah, and it's like the worst kept secret society this side of, I don't know, the Illuminati.
Maybe they just don't want to be bugged by people.
And if you don't want to be bugged by people, don't go off and create lodges and drive in Shriner cars and do all that stuff.
Okay, those guys are cool.
I know, but if you don't
want
to
little tassels, then they get to drive a little.
Nobody's business but the Turks.
Yeah, I know. That's a turkey. Yeah, that was like
little Fez.
Little cat. Yeah, those are like, and the scimitar. The scimitar.
Again, we'll talk about some of that. We'll cover some of that on Saturday's episode, not Wednesday's rant. But
just want to thank our viewers. We're up to 130 subscribers.
And if you stayed this long, congratulations.
And our Instagram is at 754 subscribers.
Don't use Instagram, so
well, they still matter.
We do. Everyone matters.
Everyone matters. So yeah, when
do we start making money off Instagram? Just out of curiosity, what number count do we have to get to?
You don't. If you're planning on making money,
So I have to go into work tomorrow. Is what you're saying?
For the rest of your natural life, probably. Yeah. Until you retire. You don't get rich at podcasting, kids.
Or die. Well, you do. You can.
You can.
But
it's maybe like one day.
Yeah. It's like rock and roll.
Do it because you love it, not because you want to get rich.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So, thank you very much for watching. I am Phil. This is my co-host Cory, and you watched the OC, and we will see you here next week.
Well, this weekend, actually.
They don't know that Saturday.
They do now.
Oh, they do.
You told them I was drinking during the middle of the week.
Okay, you're in a rush.
Take care.
All right, folks. Take care. Good night.